World of Warcraft. Which class should you play in 2017? Let's take a look at all the different class choices and if they're worth playing. Now, before you decide, you'll need to know if you plan to be a PvP player or a PvE player. So we're going to take a look at both sides of the coin on each of the following. Now remember, if this is your first time here, be sure to click on the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. In all honesty, many will tell you that you should pick the character, the class that you choose to play based upon the look, the color, the style of the gear, and if it's cool looking or not. In the end, these things mean very little unless you're going to just stand in town and look cool. So let's go ahead and take a look. A mage is major DPS. The mage has Arcane, Fire, and Frost spec. All of these are major DPS. The armor is cloth. And currently, it appears that the best PvP spec for mages is Frost. Mages in PvE are awesome damage dealers. They are great for soloing content, great for dungeon running, even in raids. But being cloth does reduce your survivability by a good bit. Warlock. Again, a cloth wear. Range DPS. Demonology, Destruction, and Affliction are the specs. They are able to have demons as pets. So they can summon a pet, whether it be an imp, a void walker, or one of the many other demons that are available for a warlock. Currently, warlock's best PvP spec seems to be Affliction. Now, just like the mage, the warlock can do extremely well in soloing or in gold farming or what have you. And they are very popular in raids. Now, the next one that we'll be taking a look at will be a priest. A priest can be a healing or a DPS character. If you're going to heal, you'll use Discipline or Holy. And if you're wanting to DPS and deal out some serious damage, you're going to go Shadow. Again, another cloth wear. And currently, the Shadow Priest is the best PvP spec for Priest. Also, extremely well in soloing, in dungeons, and from what I've seen, arena. Pretty well anything you can do, a priest, shadow priest, does very well at. A rogue. Now, if you've ever watched a movie and you've seen the ninja just disappear, that's what you're looking at with the rogue. The rogue is a ninja of World of Warcraft. You have the assassination rogue, the combat rogue, and the subtlety rogue. Now, all of them can stealth. They wear leather. And currently, the best PvP spec seems to be Outlaw. Now, in PvE, the rogue is extremely good. for soloing. You can pick pockets, make a lot of gold that way if you know where to go. Also, they are very good in raids. There's just an endless amount of reasons that the rogue does very, very well. Next, we have the druid, who is also a leather wearer. Now, the druid is the very first ever character, the very first class ever to have 4 different specs. All others have 3, except for the druid and the demon hunter. Demon hunter only has 2. But for now, let's take a look at the druid. The druid has resto, or restoration, and that is a healing spec. Feral for DPS. Guardian for tanking. And balance for DPS and healing together. Again, this is a leather wearing class. Now, the one part that makes a druid stand out in my eyes is the fact that it is a shapeshifter. You can turn into a cat, a bear. You can turn into a big deer and run very, very quickly. You can turn into a bear, a bird and fly away. So it's just very, very cool. Currently, PvP spec, the best one seems to be balance from what I've been told. And also in raids and PvE, the druid is almost godly. If you're a druid and somebody needs a tank, you're ready. Okay, if you have a tank off spec and you're a DPS, you're ready for anything. And the druid gets into a lot of raids and dungeons that others may not get into as easy. Next, we have the monk with leather armor, Windwalker, which is DPS, Brewmaster, which is tank, and Mist Weaver, which is healing. And the current best PvP spec seems to be Windwalker. And overall, the monk is just a very, very nice choice, in my opinion. You can do a lot of damage no matter where you're at, PvP or PvE. You can also roll away if you're if you're dying and something's after you, just hit the button and roll away. Or you can fly through the air with a kick. So just a very, very good choice. Now the hunter. I play a hunter myself as my main. And you can be marksman, beastmaster, or survival. The armor is male. And one of the things that stands out with the hunter, you can feign death. If you're getting close to dying and there's 4 or 5 mobs on you, feign death, they're going to walk away. You pop up and heal up and go right on. Now, you got to be careful how when you pop up, because if they're standing close by, it could end not too well. Okay, and currently the best PvP spec seems to be survival. While, for me at least, I like marksman as the PvE spec, because you can do extreme damage, and it's just you get into a lot of situations, a lot of raids, dungeons, what have you, that you may not get into otherwise. Next, we have the Shaman. You have Resto for healing, Elemental for DPS, Enhancement for DPS, and you're able to summon elemental pets. You again use male armor, and currently the best PvP spec seems to be elemental. Now, shamans in PvE are phenomenal. They do a lot of DPS. They can, just, if they see that they're going to die, they have a lot of self-heals they can do. It's just an all-around terrific place to try. Next, the Death Knight. Now, remember, the Death Knight starts out at level 55, so that is something that's a plus if you're wanting to hurry up and get one to 110. You have Frost for DPS, Unholy for DPS, and Blood for tanking. You can summon a Army of the Dead, control a pet, and your armor is plate. Frost seems to be the best PvP spec currently, and Frost and Unholy both do very well in the damage department. And overall, I just enjoy playing the Death Knight myself. I think it's a very cool character to play, and I would highly suggest it if you're wanting to try to get one up very quickly to 110. Next, the Warrior. Now, my very first character that I ever created was a Warrior. I played Arms back when, as they say, I played Arms before Arms was cool. Because back in the day when I played my Warrior, the guild leaders and group leaders all felt that the only Warrior worth having was a tank, a protection spec. And it's not that way anymore. People do welcome a Arms Warrior, a Fury Warrior, as well as a tank. And the great part is you can, if you're good at tanking, you can off-spec tank, main spec DPS, or vice versa. Again, a plate wearer. Currently, the best PvP spec seems to be Arms. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to make a video on each of these classes and their current best spec. Now, next we have a Paladin, and they have Resto, or Retribution I should say, for DPS, Holy for healing, and Protection to tank. Again, another plate wearer. And currently, Retribution is rocking the PvP world. Now, with a Paladin, if you know what you're doing and you've researched your character, you've played it all the way up, you didn't try to skip and have somebody else play it for you, then you should do very, very well in any aspect of the game. Now, the Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter has Havoc for DPS, and Vengeance for tanking. So there's no healing spec at all for a Demon Hunter, unless you're going to use First Aid or something of that nature. Use the Bandage Gun, you know. You also have Glide, which is very, very cool. And Double Jump. So with the Demon Hunter, you can get into spots that a lot of other people cannot get into. You do wear leather. And currently, the best PvP spec, of course, is Havoc. Now, in the end, it all comes down to what you want to do. What do you want to do in the game? If you want to heal, DPS, or tank, whichever you choose will narrow down your choices to pick from. Also, if you want to do PvP or PvE, your choices would then change as well. As for PvE, it would greatly depend on what role you want to build. For example, DPS. If you wanted to deal damage up close and personal, you would need to determine which class deals melee damage. For example, Rogues, Death Knight, Demon Hunter. If you wanted to heal, you would see the Priest, Discipline, and Holy. A Holy Paladin, Resto Shaman, Mistweaver Monk, and Resto Druid. If you want a tank, you would be looking for a Bear Tank, which Druid, Vengeance Demon Hunter, Brewmaster Monk, Protection Paladin, Guardian Druid, Blood Decay, and of course the Protection Warrior. So overall, guys, it's not as much about what looks cool, what kind of armor they have, or what weapon they have, what artifact they have. In the end, it's all about you. So if you're not sure which one you like, I would say go on a PvE, a normal server. Start one of each character that you're interested in. Play each one of them up to level 20. Now, leveling up to level 20, and I don't mean with heirlooms, that's going to make it quick. Level the old-fashioned way, slow and easy. And once you hit level 20, if you find that you like a certain one, then maybe that's your best choice. But that way you will know which one you want before you spend days, weeks, or even months leveling all the way from 1 to 110. But that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that this has helped you out in some way. I hope it's giving you something to think about, pointed you in the right direction. If it has, be sure to drop a thumbs up down below. And also, above all, I want to thank you for dropping by. And until next time, you have a good day.